What separates truly effective people from everyone else? Is it intelligence, talent, or luck? Or is it something much deeper? Something that shapes every decision, every relationship, and every achievement throughout life? For more than 3 decades, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey has helped millions of readers improve their character, strengthen their discipline, build meaningful relationships, and become more successful in both their personal and professional lives. But this book isn't about quick success or temporary motivation. It's about developing timeless habits that create lasting results. In this complete summary, we'll explore the 7 powerful habits that can transform the way you think, work, communicate, and lead. We'll focus on practical and ethical principles such as responsibility, integrity, self-discipline, respect, effective communication, and continuous self-improvement, while avoiding anything that conflicts with Islamic values. These are universal habits that help people become better individuals through honest effort and consistent action. Let's begin with the first habit, a principle that forms the foundation of every lasting success. Be proactive. In the introduction, we discovered that lasting success isn't built on talent or luck alone. It is built through habits that shape the way we think, act, and respond to life's challenges. Stephen R. Covey explains that before we can become effective in our careers, relationships, or personal goals, we must first learn to master ourselves. And that journey begins with the first habit, be proactive. Being proactive means accepting responsibility for your own life. Instead of blaming circumstances, other people, or bad luck, proactive individuals focus on what they can control. They understand that while they cannot control every situation, they can always choose how they respond. This simple shift in thinking creates confidence, resilience, and long-term personal growth. Many people spend their lives reacting to events. They allow their emotions, fear, or the opinions of others to determine their actions. A difficult situation ruins their day. Criticism destroys their confidence. Unexpected problems make them lose focus. Covey calls this reactive living. A reactive person allows external circumstances to control their inner state. A proactive person chooses a different path. They pause before reacting. They think carefully before speaking. They make decisions based on values rather than temporary emotions. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" they ask, "What is the best response I can make?" This mindset transforms problems into opportunities for learning and improvement. One of the book's most powerful ideas is the difference between the circle of concern and the circle of influence. Every person worries about many things: economic conditions, the behavior of others, world events, or situations beyond their control. These belong to the circle of concern. Spending all your energy on these issues often creates stress without producing meaningful results. The circle of influence, however, includes the things you can actually change: your attitude, your habits, your preparation, your communication, your decisions, and your daily actions. Highly effective people invest most of their energy here because real growth begins when we improve the things that are within our control. Another important lesson is that every choice carries consequences. Small decisions may seem unimportant today, but over time they shape our future. Every responsible action strengthens good habits, while repeated poor choices gradually weaken our character. Success is rarely created by one major decision. More often, it is built through hundreds of wise decisions repeated consistently over many years. Covey also reminds us that our values should become the foundation of our actions. Circumstances change. Emotions change. Public opinion changes. But principles such as honesty, responsibility, kindness, discipline, and integrity remain valuable in every generation. People who build their lives upon strong principles are better prepared to face challenges without losing their direction. Another valuable lesson is learning to replace excuses with responsibility. It is easy to say that success depends entirely on luck, background, or other people. While external challenges are real, lasting progress begins when we stop waiting for perfect conditions and start improving what is already within our reach. Personal responsibility creates personal power. The book also emphasizes the importance of self-awareness. Human beings have the unique ability to observe their own thoughts, question their habits, and choose better responses. This ability allows us to break negative patterns and replace them with healthier ones. Every day becomes an opportunity to improve rather than simply repeat yesterday's mistakes. Perhaps the greatest message in this first habit is that freedom begins with responsibility. The moment you accept responsibility for your choices, you begin taking control of your future. Instead of becoming a victim of circumstances, you become an active participant in shaping your own life through discipline, wisdom, and consistent action. As these lessons come together, one timeless truth becomes clear: effectiveness begins from within. Before you can successfully lead projects, build relationships, or achieve meaningful goals, you must first learn to lead yourself. Proactive thinking is the foundation upon which every other habit in this book is built. In the next part, we'll explore the second habit, begin with the end in mind, and discover why having a clear vision, strong values, and a meaningful purpose gives direction to every important decision you make. In the previous part, we learned that effectiveness begins with taking responsibility for our choices instead of blaming circumstances. Once you become proactive, the next step is learning where you want your life to go. Stephen R. Covey calls this the second habit, begin with the end in mind. This habit teaches us that every meaningful achievement starts with a clear vision of the person we want to become. Imagine setting out on a long journey without knowing your destination. No matter how hard you travel, you may never arrive where you truly want to be. Life works the same way. Many people stay busy every day, yet they never pause to ask whether their daily actions are leading them toward the future they actually desire. Activity alone does not create progress. Direction gives activity its meaning. Covey explains that everything is created twice. The first creation happens in the mind, where we imagine, plan, and make decisions. The second creation happens in reality through our actions. Every successful building begins with a blueprint before construction starts. In the same way, a meaningful life begins with a clear purpose before daily habits can produce lasting results. One of the most powerful lessons in this habit is living according to principles rather than temporary emotions. Feelings change from day to day, and public opinion constantly shifts. However, principles such as honesty, responsibility, respect, fairness, humility, and integrity remain valuable regardless of changing circumstances. People who allow their values to guide their decisions remain steady even during difficult times because their foundation does not depend on temporary situations. Another important idea is creating a personal vision for your life. Covey encourages readers to think deeply about the kind of person they want to become. Instead of focusing only on career success or financial achievements, ask yourself deeper questions. Do you want to become someone who is trustworthy? Someone who keeps promises? Someone who treats others with kindness and fairness? Lasting success begins by shaping your character before chasing external rewards. The book also reminds us that success without purpose often leads to disappointment. A person may achieve wealth, status, or recognition, yet still feel unfulfilled if those achievements are disconnected from meaningful values. True effectiveness comes when your daily actions align with your deepest principles and long-term purpose. When your goals reflect your values, your life gains both direction and meaning. Another valuable lesson is learning to make decisions based on long-term consequences rather than short-term comfort. Every choice you make today influences the person you will become tomorrow. A small decision may seem insignificant in the moment, but repeated daily, it shapes your habits, your character, and ultimately your future. Wise people regularly ask themselves whether today's actions are bringing them closer to their long-term goals or pulling them further away. Covey also emphasizes the importance of balance. Many people devote all their attention to one area of life while neglecting others. Career, family, health, knowledge, faith, relationships, and personal character all require attention. Long-term effectiveness is built when these important areas remain in healthy balance rather than allowing one success to come at the expense of everything else. Another timeless principle is learning to lead yourself before trying to lead others. Leadership begins with personal responsibility. Before influencing a team, a family, or an organization, you must first learn to manage your own priorities, emotions, habits, and decisions. The strongest leaders earn trust because their actions consistently reflect the values they claim to believe. The book further explains that purpose gives strength during difficult seasons. When challenges arise, People with a clear vision are less likely to lose hope because they understand why they started in the first place. A meaningful purpose provides motivation that lasts much longer than temporary excitement. It helps people remain patient, disciplined, and focused even when progress feels slow. Perhaps the greatest message in this habit is that your future is created by the decisions you make today. Every action, every habit, and every choice becomes another step toward the person you are becoming. Instead of allowing life to happen by chance, choose to live intentionally. Build your future upon timeless principles, meaningful goals, and consistent action. As these lessons come together, one powerful truth becomes clear. Effectiveness is not about being busy. It is about living with purpose. When your values shape your decisions and your vision guides your actions, every day becomes another opportunity to build a life of integrity, responsibility, and lasting success. In the next part, we'll explore the third habit, put first things first, and discover how managing priorities, not just managing time, allows highly effective people to accomplish what truly matters most. In the previous part, we learned that highly effective people begin with a clear vision of the future. They don't allow life to happen by accident. They live according to purpose and principles. But having a vision alone isn't enough. The next challenge is turning that vision into daily action. This is where Stephen R. Covey introduces the third habit, put first things first. Many people confuse being busy with being productive. They fill every hour with work, meetings, messages, and endless responsibilities. Yet at the end of the day, they still feel they haven't accomplished what truly matters. Covey explains that effectiveness isn't about doing more things. It's about doing the right things in the right order. One of the book's most valuable lessons is learning to identify your highest priorities. Every day presents countless choices, but not every task deserves the same amount of attention. Highly effective people focus first on activities that support their long-term goals, strengthen their character, improve their relationships, and help them grow. They refuse to let urgent distractions replace truly important responsibilities. Covey introduces the idea of distinguishing between what is urgent and what is important. Urgent tasks demand immediate attention, but they aren't always the most valuable. Important tasks, on the other hand, contribute to your long-term success and personal development. Unfortunately, many people spend most of their time reacting to urgent problems while neglecting the important habits that could prevent those problems from appearing in the first place. The book encourages readers to invest more time in activities such as learning new skills, planning ahead, strengthening relationships, improving health, and developing good habits. These actions may not always seem urgent today, but over time they produce extraordinary results. Preventing problems is often far more effective than constantly reacting to them. Another powerful lesson is learning to say no to distractions. Every time you say yes to something unimportant, you're often saying no to something far more valuable. Highly effective people understand that protecting their priorities requires discipline. They don't allow every request, notification, or interruption to control their schedule. Instead, they make conscious decisions based on their values and long-term purpose. The book also reminds us that time management is really self-management. Everyone receives the same 24 hours each day. The difference lies in how those hours are used. Successful people don't simply organize their calendars. They organize their decisions. They choose activities that move them closer to their goals rather than allowing circumstances to determine how they spend their time. Another important principle is keeping commitments. Every promise you make, to yourself or to others, builds or weakens trust. When you consistently follow through on your responsibilities, you strengthen your character and increase your confidence. Integrity grows when your actions match your words, even when keeping your commitments requires sacrifice or extra effort. Covey also emphasizes the importance of maintaining balance. Success should never come at the cost of your family, your health, your values, or your peace of mind. Highly effective people recognize that lasting achievement requires caring for every important area of life. A balanced life creates stability, while neglecting one area eventually affects the others. Another timeless lesson is that discipline creates freedom. At first, discipline may feel difficult because it requires saying no to comfort and yes to responsibility. But over time, disciplined habits create greater confidence, stronger relationships, better opportunities, and lasting peace of mind. Temporary discomfort often leads to long-term rewards. Perhaps the greatest message in this habit is that your priorities reveal your true values. It's easy to talk about what matters most, but your daily schedule tells the real story. Every decision you make either moves you closer to your purpose or further away from it. Choosing what matters most, again and again, is the foundation of an effective life. As these lessons come together, one timeless truth becomes clear. Success isn't determined by how busy you are, but by how faithfully you invest your time in what truly matters. When your priorities align with your values, your daily actions begin building the future you genuinely want. In the next part, we'll explore the fourth habit, think win-win, and discover how cooperation, mutual respect, fairness, and trust create stronger relationships and greater long-term success than competition alone. In the previous part, we learned that highly effective people focus on what truly matters instead of becoming trapped by endless distractions. They organize their lives around principles and priorities rather than urgency alone. Once you've learned to lead yourself, Stephen R. Covey explains that the next step is learning how to build strong and meaningful relationships with others. This brings us to the fourth habit, think win-win. Many people see life as a competition where one person's success must come at another person's expense. They believe that for someone to win, someone else must lose. Covey challenges this mindset by explaining that the most effective people seek solutions where everyone benefits. Instead of asking, how can I get ahead? They ask, how can we succeed together? This simple shift creates stronger relationships, greater trust, and long-term success. Think win-win is built upon the belief that there is enough opportunity for everyone to grow. It does not mean avoiding difficult conversations or agreeing with everything. Instead, it means approaching situations with fairness, respect, and a genuine desire to find solutions that benefit all parties whenever possible. When people feel respected and valued, cooperation becomes much easier than conflict. Another important lesson is balancing courage with kindness. Some people are kind but avoid speaking the truth because they fear conflict. Others speak honestly but forget to show respect and empathy. Highly effective people combine both qualities. They express their opinions clearly while treating others with dignity. True leadership requires both confidence and compassion. The book also reminds us that trust is the foundation of every healthy relationship. Whether in family, business, friendship, or teamwork, trust cannot be demanded. It must be earned through consistent honesty, responsibility, and reliability. Every promise you keep strengthens trust, while every broken commitment weakens it. Lasting relationships are built through small acts of integrity repeated over time. Another valuable principle is learning to celebrate the success of others instead of comparing yourself to them. Comparison often creates jealousy, insecurity, and unnecessary competition. Highly effective people understand that another person's achievement does not reduce their own potential. Instead of feeling threatened by the success of others, they choose to learn from it and remain focused on their own growth. Covey also emphasizes the importance of seeking cooperation rather than control. Trying to dominate every conversation or always insisting on your own way often damages relationships. Effective people listen carefully, remain open to different perspectives, and search for solutions that create mutual benefit. This approach strengthens teamwork and encourages long-term collaboration. Another timeless lesson is learning to resolve disagreements with wisdom and patience. Conflict is a natural part of life, but it does not have to become destructive. When people communicate respectfully, remain calm, and focus on solving problems instead of attacking each other, disagreements often become opportunities to strengthen understanding rather than damage relationships. The book further explains that generosity creates stronger connections than selfishness. Helping others, sharing knowledge, encouraging those around you, and recognizing the contributions of others create an environment where everyone is motivated to grow. People naturally support leaders who genuinely care about their success rather than focusing only on personal gain. Another principle worth remembering is that respect must be shown even when opinions differ. Agreement is not always possible, but respect should always remain. Listening carefully, speaking politely, and treating others with fairness builds character and opens the door for meaningful communication. Strong relationships are not built by winning every argument. They are built by preserving mutual respect. Perhaps the greatest message in this habit is that lasting success is rarely achieved alone. Every meaningful accomplishment depends, in some way, on healthy relationships built upon trust, honesty, fairness, and cooperation. When people work together with integrity and mutual respect, they often achieve results that would be impossible individually. As these lessons come together, one timeless truth becomes clear. True effectiveness is not about defeating others. It is about growing together. A win-win mindset creates stronger families, healthier workplaces, lasting friendships, and better communities because it encourages people to seek solutions where everyone has the opportunity to succeed. In the next part, we'll explore the fifth and sixth habits. Seek first to understand, then to be understood and synergize, and discover how listening deeply, valuing different perspectives, and working together can unlock levels of success that no individual could achieve alone. So far, we've learned that highly effective people take responsibility for their actions, live with a clear purpose, focus on their highest priorities, and build relationships based on fairness and mutual respect. Stephen R. Covey now introduces 2 habits that strengthen every relationship and every team. Seek first to understand, then to be understood and synergize. Together, these habits teach us that real success is built not only by speaking well, but by listening well and working together. One of the greatest communication mistakes people make is listening only to reply instead of listening to understand. During conversations, many people are already preparing their response before the other person has finished speaking. As a result, misunderstandings grow, trust weakens, and unnecessary conflicts develop. Covey explains that effective communication begins with genuine listening. To truly understand another person, we must give them our full attention. This means listening with patience, asking thoughtful questions, and trying to understand both their words and their feelings. When people feel heard and respected, they become far more willing to listen in return. Understanding creates trust, and trust creates stronger relationships. Another valuable lesson is developing empathy. Empathy does not mean agreeing with every opinion or accepting every behavior. It means making a sincere effort to understand another person's perspective before forming conclusions. Highly effective people recognize that every individual has different experiences, challenges, and ways of thinking. Respecting those differences leads to wiser decisions and healthier communication. The book also reminds us that clear communication requires humility. Sometimes we become so focused on proving ourselves right that we stop searching for the truth. Effective people remain open to learning from others because they understand that no one possesses complete knowledge. Humility allows us to improve by accepting useful ideas, constructive feedback, and different viewpoints. Once mutual understanding is established, Covey introduces the 6th habit, synergize. Synergy means creating results together that would be impossible to achieve alone. Every individual brings unique strengths, experiences, and abilities. When these differences are respected instead of ignored, they become a source of creativity and innovation. Highly effective teams do not consist of people who think exactly alike. Instead, they include individuals with different talents who cooperate toward a shared purpose. One person's strengths often compensate for another person's weaknesses. By combining knowledge, skills, and perspectives, a group can solve problems more effectively than any single individual working alone. Another important lesson is learning to value differences rather than fear them. Disagreement does not always indicate conflict. In many cases, different opinions help reveal better solutions that no one would have discovered individually. Mature people remain respectful even when they disagree because they understand that diversity of thought often leads to stronger decisions. The book also emphasizes that cooperation requires trust. Teams cannot succeed where dishonesty, selfishness, or constant competition exist. Trust grows when people consistently demonstrate integrity, keep their commitments, respect one another, and communicate openly. The stronger the trust, the stronger the collaboration becomes. Another timeless principle is serving others through your strengths. Highly effective people focus not only on what they can achieve for themselves, but also on how they can contribute to those around them. Leadership is not about controlling people. It is about helping people grow, encouraging their abilities, and creating an environment where everyone has the opportunity to succeed. Covey also reminds us that meaningful relationships require continuous effort. Strong communication is not built through one conversation, and trust is not built through one good decision. Both develop gradually through honesty, patience, consistency, and genuine care for others. Small daily actions often strengthen relationships more than occasional grand gestures. Perhaps the greatest message in these two habits is that listening creates understanding, understanding builds trust, and trust makes cooperation possible. When people learn to respect different perspectives, communicate with humility, and work together towards shared goals, they achieve results that would never be possible alone. As these lessons come together, one timeless truth becomes clear. Lasting effectiveness is built through relationships as much as through personal discipline. Success grows stronger when people listen carefully, communicate honestly, value one another's strengths, and cooperate with integrity. Now we've reached the final stage of this journey. In the last part, we'll bring together all 7 habits and discover why continuous self-improvement, strong character, and principle-centered living create a foundation for lifelong success and meaningful leadership. We've reached the end of our journey through the 7 habits of highly effective people, and if there's one lesson this book leaves us with, it's this. True effectiveness is not created by talent, luck, or temporary motivation. It is built through the habits you practice, the values you live by, and the character you develop every single day. Throughout this summary, we've explored 7 timeless habits that have helped millions of people improve their lives, relationships, leadership, and personal growth. We learned that lasting change begins when we take responsibility for our choices instead of blaming circumstances. We discovered the importance of living with a clear purpose, focusing on what truly matters, treating others with fairness, listening with empathy, working together with respect, and continually improving ourselves. One of the greatest messages in this book is that success begins from the inside. Before we can effectively lead others, we must first learn to lead ourselves. Our habits shape our character shapes our decisions, and our decisions ultimately shape our future. Small daily actions, repeated consistently over time, become the foundation of extraordinary results. We also learn that principles never go out of style. Honesty, integrity, responsibility, humility, respect, and discipline remain valuable regardless of changing trends or circumstances. People who build their lives upon these principles earn trust, strengthen relationships, and create a positive influence wherever they go. True leadership is not based on position or authority. It is built upon character and consistent example. Another important lesson is that meaningful relationships require genuine understanding. Listening carefully, respecting different perspectives, communicating with kindness, and seeking solutions that benefit everyone create stronger families, healthier workplaces, and more successful teams. Cooperation becomes possible when trust is built through honesty and mutual respect. The 7th habit, sharpen the saw, reminds us that personal growth should never stop. Just as a tool must be maintained to remain effective, we must continue strengthening ourselves throughout life. This means caring for our physical health, expanding our knowledge, developing our emotional well-being, and nurturing our moral and spiritual values. Continuous improvement allows us to remain effective in every stage of life. The book also teaches that lasting success is a journey rather than a destination. There is always another lesson to learn, another habit to strengthen, and another opportunity to become a better version of ourselves. Progress does not require perfection. It requires consistency, patience, and the willingness to keep moving forward even when growth feels slow. Perhaps the most encouraging message is that anyone can begin changing their life, regardless of their past. Every new day offers another opportunity to make wiser decisions, build stronger habits, improve relationships, and live according to timeless principles. Real transformation happens gradually through small choices made with honesty, discipline, and purpose. At the same time, remember that true success is measured by more than achievements or financial gain. A meaningful life includes strong character, healthy relationships, peace of mind, service to others, and living according to values that bring lasting benefit. External success becomes truly meaningful when it is supported by integrity and responsibility. Ultimately, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is not simply a book about productivity or leadership. It is a guide to becoming a person whose habits, principles, and character create lasting positive impact. By practicing these 7 habits consistently, you develop not only greater effectiveness, but also greater wisdom, stronger relationships, and a more purposeful life. Thank you for joining me on this complete journey through the 7 habits of highly effective people. If you remember only one lesson from this book, let it be this. Lasting success is not achieved by changing your circumstances first. It is achieved by changing your habits, strengthening your character, and living according to timeless principles every single day. When your values guide your actions and your habits reflect those values, success becomes more than an achievement. It becomes a way of life.